Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The bulls continue to reclaim lost ground on the Lal Street. The Nifty moves back above 25,000. The Sensex gains over 360 points. Mid-caps outperform. Mutual fund investors turn towards large caps in August as inflows rise nearly fourfold. Hybrid funds see a decline in appetite. SIP contributions hit a record high of more than 23,500 lakh crore rupees. Congress makes fresh allegations of willful concealment against SEBI chief Madhavi Puri Butch, claims her husband received nearly 5 crore rupees from Mahindra & Mahindra in a 3-year period when SEBI issued 4 orders in matters related to the conglomerate. M&M terms the charges false and misleading, says Dhaval Butch was hired by the group in 2019 for his expertise in supply chain and sourcing. 67% of Indian bankers expect the current and savings deposit growth to slow further, according to a survey by the Banks Association and industry body FICCI. Majority expect credit growth to remain stable. 52% expect bad loans to stabilize in the next 6 months, but flag agri, textiles and MSME among potential sectors where stress may rise. More than 1,000 workers at Samsung's plant near Chennai on a strike for the second day demand increase in wages and recognition of the workers' union. Sources say more than 50% of the plant's workers are on strike currently. Tata Motors announces discounts on electric cars and ICE vehicles as the festive season kicks off with rising inventory. Maruti and Toyota bet big on hybrid vehicles as the industry remains hopeful about strong sales growth in the coming weeks. The U.S. House of Representatives passes a new law to restrict biotech imports from China by 2032. The move presents an opportunity for Indian pharma companies to fill the gap in supply. Violence flares up in Manipur as 7 people are dead in the last 2 days. The state imposes a curfew across 3 districts prohibiting large gatherings and the movement of people. Tech giant Apple loses a 10-year court battle in Europe over its tax affairs in Ireland. The court orders Dublin to recover more than $14 billion in tax dues. Europe's top court also upholds a penalty of nearly $3 billion imposed on Google for abusing market dominance in the search business. For first half the day's market action, the Lal Street extended gains with the Nifty and the Sensex ending nearly 0.5% higher. The Nifty was back above the 25,000 mark and the mid-caps outperformed the blue chip with the index ending over 1% higher. So that's the story. The Sensex up 360 points, the Nifty Bank higher by about 150 points and 700 points of a gain coming in there for the mid-cap index. Prashant is standing by to wrap up the day's trading action for us. Prashant, green across the board today. What does Tuesday look like?
Well, a pretty decent day and the market bouncing once again. By 3:30 at close, we had come off about 80 points on the Nifty. So at one point, it looked like the index would end above the 25,100 level. Actually, the high was about 25,130. But then there was a bit of a give back which happened in the last 60 minutes of trade and the Nifty ending with gains, decent 100-plus point gains, but not at the day's highest point. Bank Nifty also about 1/3% higher. Mid-caps and small caps clearly much better. Each of these indices ending with gains of over 1% apiece. Now, I'll start with, what did well as far as large caps go. Divi's was a standout mover, large volumes as well. And IT, the IT index was up at one point about 2% plus, but ending with nearly 2% gain. So LTI, Mindtree, Wipro, HCL Tech were some of the other gainers. You also had a Bharti on the large caps front, which participated. Insurance stocks were on the back foot and financial services, a few others as well. So HDFC Life and SBI Life, prominent losers, 3.5-4% cuts. Bajaj Finserv was down. Actually, so was Shriram Finance, which was just pulled back after a recent run of strong performance. Broader market, because mid and small cap part of the market did well. Advanced decline was positive. So in terms of stocks, Tata Power, big mover. Piramal Pharma, Sumitomo Chemicals, Century Textiles, which is a real estate play, SJVN, Jubilant Engraver. You had Global Spirits, Tilaknagar Industries from the alcohol beverages space, Motisans, the jeweler, yesterday, of course, was a big day with all of them doing well. Today, there was one. You had Linde India, All Cargo Logistics, EPAC, Shriram Pistons, Suprajit Engineering, Bector Foods, NIIT Limited, and Latent View, just to give you a sampling of what did well. All of these backed by decent volumes. Some pullbacks, Premier Energies, which of course has been the blockbuster recent run-up IPO, that pulled back a bit. Oil India, you had Uno Minda, New India Assurance and Blue Jet were some of the other names which actually saw some amount of pullbacks today. Back to you.
All right, Prashant, many thanks for joining us. And staying with the markets, mutual fund investors turned towards large caps in August as inflows rose nearly fourfold compared to the previous month. Now, this comes even as inflows into mid-cap and small-cap funds remain steady. Investments through SIPs strong, hitting an all-time high of over 23,500 crores. However, hybrid funds have witnessed a decline in appetite as inflows fell 42% month-on-month, so the strong run for mutual funds continues. The annual convention of the Society of Indian Automobile Makers is kicked off in the national capital. The industry is entering the festive season with rising inventory and is dishing out discounts to spur sales. Tata Motors has cut the prices of its electric vehicles by up to 3 lakh rupees. Yesterday, the company announced price cuts for its ICE vehicles by up to 2 lakh rupees. Tata Motors has also called on the government to provide subsidy for medium and heavy-duty commercial vehicles under the FAME scheme. Maruti and Toyota are betting big on hybrid cars as the industry remains hopeful of strong sales growth in the festive season.
We are now looking at FAME 3 being rolled out, and we are also expecting as a commercial vehicle industry that the FAME 3 also includes N2 and N3 trucks, because it was limited to N1 category, which is up to 3.5 tons. We want N2 and N3, which is light, medium, heavy, to be included. We also want private buses to be included. And since for long distance haulage, I think hydrogen internal combustion engine is a good technology. Maybe we are also requesting the government to include this in the FAME incentive.
Be the market leader, give all the technology offering to the customer and let the customer decide. That's what we are trying to do, being the market leader. Now, coming to the hybrid, yes, the share of business of hybrid is going up as compared to the EV. You all know that hybrids are now, customers are preferring it. We are presently offering the strong hybrid only in 2 models. That is the Grand Vitara and the Invicto. So of that total sales, it is 16%.
We believe that there is no one single technology, be it hybrid, be BEV, that can address this overriding national goals. So as Toyota, we will continue to prioritize a multi-pathway wherein on top of complementing BEV, we believe in the role of hybrid electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, electrified flexi-fuel vehicles and biofuel vehicles, and all of them we believe will have a significant contribution towards 2030.
And staying with the SIAM annual convention, Union Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari said the country needs to double the number of vehicle scrapping and automated fitness test centres. Gadkari also urged industry to help set up more scrapping centres as the national scrappage policy he believes is a win-win for all. Take a look.
For scrapping center, for fitness center, we need your cooperation. I feel that it is an economically viable venture which is going to support you to get more profits. Because by scrapping, you will reduce the cost of your components by 30 to 40%, 90% of the material which can be recycling, and because of that, your profit margin will be increased and you can reduce the cost of your final product.
Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD has raised its annual sales forecast courtesy a surge in purchase of plug-in hybrid vehicles. The EV giant has upped its annual target to 4 million units. Now, this compares to a previous guidance of around 3.6 million units. The positive outlook comes on the back of Chinese consumers flocking to buy EVs and hybrids in bigger numbers. The Congress party has made fresh allegations of willful concealment against the SEBI chief Madhavi Puri Butch. Addressing a press conference, party spokesperson Pawan Khera claims that the SEBI chief's husband received nearly 5 crore rupees from Mahindra & Mahindra between 2019 to 2022. During this period, SEBI issued 5 orders in matters related to the conglomerate. The Congress also alleges that Butch's consultancy firm Agora Advisory received income from M&M, Dr. Reddy's Labs, Pidilite, ICICI Bank and 2 other organizations while she was holding a position as the market regulator. Mahindra Group has responded to the allegations made by the Congress party, calling them false and misleading. The company said Dhaval Butch was appointed to the board of the group company in 2019 before Madhavi Puri Butch was appointed as the SEBI chief. Mahindra Group said that Dhaval Butch was roped in for his expertise in supply chain and sourcing. Take a look.
She earned through Agora 2 crore 95 lakh rupees between 2016-17, 19-20 and 23-24, all this while, she was whole-time member initially and then she became the chairperson of SEBI. अब आप पूछेंगे वो कौन सी कंपनीज हैं? नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. ये जो मैंने आपको फिगर दिया 2,95,00,000 का, ये कमाया गया महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा लिमिटेड, डॉक्टर रेड्डीज, पिडिलाइट, आईसीआईसीआई, सेम्बकॉर्प और विसु लीजिंग एंड फाइनेंस. सबसे ज्यादा 88%, ये जो 2,95,00,000 का 88% महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा से कमाया गया, उनसे लिया गया. अघोरा ने लिया. द हस्बैंड ऑफ सेबी चेयरपर्सन माधवी पुरी जी, द हस्बैंड इज धवल बुच साहब, he got 4,78,00,000 rupees from Mahindra and Mahindra Group between 2019 and 2021.
Well, that's the latest set of allegations the Congress party has levelled against the SEBI chief, Madhavi Puri Butch. Now, Kenyan court has suspended a $2 billion deal between the country's government and Adani Airports Holding until it rules on the matter. The deal allows Adani to operate Kenya's Nairobi airport for 30 years. A slew of petitioners, including the Kenya Human Rights Commission, has argued that leasing the profitable airport to a private entity is irrational and unconstitutional. Well, here's the latest banking survey by FICCI and IBA, and it says that the resilience of the Indian economy and the banking sector is likely to continue, but it also warns of looming liquidity concerns. The 22 banks which participated in the survey have highlighted a key issue. They point out that with credit growth outstripping deposit growth, banks are facing pressure to raise deposits while keeping credit costs low. Ritu's here with the other highlights of the report. The chase for deposit growth, that of course continues to be the big concern and the big worry, Ritu. But outside of that, what else does the survey highlight?
Well, there are two prominent takeaways from this bankers survey. Number one, of course, the customer deposits are on a decline, particularly bad among public sector banks, which is causing concerns on the liquidity front. And number two, bad loans, now they are stabilizing, but there are some sectors that are starting to show signs of stress. Now, banks are feeling the pressure to boost deposits while managing credit costs, which is one of the key issues that has been raised by the 22 participating banks that together account for 67% of the industry's assets. Now, there was a notable shift which was seen in the current account, saving account deposits. The majority of the respondents to the survey here reported there was a decrease in the share of CASA deposits, with public sector banks being the hardest hit. Only 24% banks saw an increase in CASA deposits, while 10% reported no change compared to the previous round of survey. On the bad loan front, the findings are a bit more positive. 71% of the respondents reported a decline in NPAs, with public sector banks leading this trend, but there were 10% of banks that said that there was an increase compared to the last round of survey. The textile sector, that emerged as the most affected, with 77% of the bankers identifying it as a key stress area, and other sectors with high NPA levels include infrastructure, food processing and engineering goods. Now, going forward, the banking industry is optimistic about credit growth. Nearly 1/3 of the respondents to this survey, they expect credit growth to be in the range of 14 to 16%, while another 33% anticipate growth between 12 and 14%. Now, that number compares to about 15% kind of growth that the system is currently seeing, so it's more or less on an even stable. Now, on the bad loan front, 52% of the respondents expect the gross NPA ratio to stabilize between 2.5% to 3% in the next 6 months, while 19% predict that it may fall further to 2 to 2.5%. But going ahead, challenges do remain. The survey says sectors like agriculture, textile and particularly MSMEs are expected to see a rise in bad loans in the coming months, and that indicates areas of potential stress for the industry to watch out for.
All right, Ritu, many thanks for joining us. Now, operations at the Samsung plant on the outskirts of Chennai halted for a second day as employees staged a strike demanding higher wages. The workers' demands also include reduced work hours and recognition of the employees' union. The South Korean tech giant said it is actively engaged in resolving the issue with employees. Jude is standing by outside the Samsung plant near Chennai. Jude, take us through where the discussions currently stand.
Well, I'll take you through just where the discussions stand in a bit, but let me give you a semblance of where I am from. We're roughly located 1.5 kilometers away from the Samsung plant. This is Sriperumbudur, Chennai's manufacturing capital. And right behind me are 1,500 employees and workers from the Samsung plant in the vicinity who have been staging a protest since yesterday. What we're bringing to you are day 2 of the protest here in Sriperumbudur. The demands are simple. Wage revision. The average stands at 25,000 rupees per month in terms of wages. These employees want it revised to up to 36,000 rupees per month. The second revision, or the second demand really, is the recognition of the Samsung India Workers Union, backed of course by the Centre of Indian Trade Unions as a recognized union within the Samsung plant itself. I'm joined by Mr. Sukumaran, who is the General Secretary of the Tamil Nadu chapter of SITU. So if you could just summarize what are these key demands all about and why do you make them at this time and stage right now?
ரெண்டு டிமாண்ட் தான் மிக முக்கியமானது. ஒன்று, தொழிலாளர்களுடைய சம்பள உயர்வு. குறைந்தபட்சம் ஒரு 30,000 35,000 ரூபாய் மாதத்துக்கு உயர்வு என்பது ஒரு டிமாண்ட். இன்னொன்று, இந்த சங்கத்தை அங்கீகரிக்க வேண்டும். இந்த சங்கத்தை அங்கீகரிப்பதற்கு பதிலாக நிர்வாகமே ஒரு 10 பேரை 20 பேரை சேர்த்து வைத்துக் கொண்டு அவர்களே ஒரு சங்கத்தை உருவாக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நடைமுறையை சாம்சங் கம்பெனி அதை நடத்தி கொண்டிருக்கிறது. இந்த தொழிலாளர்கள் தங்களுடைய உரிமைகளுக்கான போராட்டத்திற்காக இந்த ஸ்ட்ரைக்கே வந்திருக்காது. ஒருவேளை இந்த சங்கத்தை அங்கீகரித்து பேச்சுவார்த்தை நடத்தி ஒரு சுமூக தீர்வை ஏற்படுத்தி இருந்தது என்று சொன்னால் இந்த ஸ்ட்ரைக் தவிர்க்கப்பட்டிருக்கலாம்.
Just to translate and summarize what Mr. Sukumaran is saying, underlining the importance of that wage revision and recognizing the union, so to speak, which was formed in July, saying that if these steps were achieved earlier, this may not have come to be today. So some key demands there really from these 1,500 workers. Remember, this constitutes 85% of the total labor strength at the Samsung plant, which has brought operations to a near halt. We should also summarize to you the fact that the head of the Samsung India Workers Union, is presently also in discussions. E. Muthukumar is in discussions with top management at the plant, and these discussions are going underway to bring a speedy completion to day 2 of the Samsung India strike here in Sriperumbudur.
Jude, many thanks for joining us. That is the latest there from Chennai. We will head into a break, but up next, tech giants Apple and Google lose multi-billion-dollar court battles in Europe. That and more when we get back. iPhone maker Apple has lost a decade-old legal battle with the European Commission over tax issues in Ireland. Europe's top court upheld the Commission's 2016 ruling that ordered Ireland to recover over $14 billion in back taxes from Apple. Back then, the Commission had said that Apple had received illegal tax benefits from Ireland over the course of 2 decades. And staying with Europe's top court, it's upheld a penalty of nearly $3 billion imposed on Google for abusing market dominance in the search business. The original decision in 2017 accused the Silicon Valley giant of unfairly targeting visitors to its own Google shopping service to the detriment of competitors. In a statement, Google said it was disappointed with the decision of the court. Australia is planning to restrict children and teenagers from accessing social media platforms. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that his government will bring the legislation in Parliament by the end of the year. The government will likely launch an age verification trial before tabling the bill. However, the contours of the legislation are still unknown. UAE's ambassador to India said that an Abu Dhabi-based bank is in talks to acquire a stake in an Indian bank. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, the ambassador said that the investment will be in billions of dollars. This comes after Prime Minister Modi and Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan signed 5 MOUs during the prince's visit to the capital yesterday.
There is a UAE-based bank that is very keen on acquiring a share in an Indian-based bank. We have a major port company that has been a major player here in India. And all of those topics and all of those matters have been discussed yesterday.
Well, the one point which we didn't know in the media was that you all were even looking for taking stake in a bank. Any names?
I can't disclose names, obviously, because this would, in one way or the other, might impact the market when it comes to this. So I really can't, but we were actually discussing something that needs to be sorted out for this to go ahead. It's a major investment. The amount that we're talking about is in the billions of dollars.
Well, the UAE interested in picking up a stake in an Indian bank. Now, the world's top semiconductor makers will gather in Delhi tomorrow for the Semicon India 2024 summit. The Indian industry is calling for more government support. Ashmit spoke with Sandeep Kumar of L&T Semiconductor on his growth expectations and the road ahead. Take a look.
China invests $35 billion a year in the semiconductor ecosystem. US passed the $50 billion CHIPS Act. TSMC on their own invests $50 billion a year. The $10 billion will be invested over 5 years. It is deployed now, but the actual money flow will happen over 5 years. So to achieve some kind of meaningful setup, you have to continue that level of investment, number one. Number two, if you look at the overall value, product companies have 50% or more of the total value in a semiconductor ecosystem today. And product companies invest more than 75% of the R&D money that goes into semiconductor ecosystem today. So just by that definition, the amount of investments needed to create a vibrant product portfolio coming out of India and create the next MediaTek or the next Huawei or the next Qualcomm or the next NVIDIA or all of the above requires a lot more investment at a scale at least as big as what is going into the fabs, if not more.
So you're essentially asking for equal support, if not more.
Equal support in a very different structure, right? Because when you're setting up a factory, for a government, it is much easier to define because there is a physical infrastructure in place. There is equipment being purchased. So there is a very clear value of money that can be assessed. In a design, you need a deeper technical pool to assess which designs are the right designs. Otherwise, 500 million can also go to waste. And the challenge for a government is how do you define and value that you have actually, not thrown away people's money or wasted the money. You have actually deployed it effectively.
Well, that's L&T on its semiconductor bet. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned. We're back in a moment with more.